either late 2001 or early 2002, I got a call from a friend of mine whose family, big Republicans, long time Republicans, and he lived and breathed the Republican Party, and he was a lifelong friend of mine. And he said, Tommy, I want you to come to a meeting that we're having, local Republicans. And I said, well, what kind of meeting? He said, well, we've got a plan. We've been able to get Laura Garrett Canary appointed U.S. Attorney, and Congressman Bob Riley is going to run against Don Sugarman for governor. Our plan is to indict Don Sugarman in the middle of the election. That's what the Riley people are going to do. I pick up the paper. Don Sugarman's been indicted. And I thought, holy Moses, are these people for real? Again, I get back to Don Sugarman's son and thinking of all the good things Don Sugarman did. And to see him rotting in prison, he's my age, 72. It's really dreadful because I know how he got there.
Here is what we call a fraud on the courts. So that is where litigants, or in this case prosecutors, knowingly present bad evidence to secure an unjust result. That's what happened here. And what's really outrageous about this case is it's not just the prosecutors, it's the judge in whose court the case went down to. He was, I firmly believe, he was complicit in this from the outset. When you step back and you review everything that happened, it's impossible to avoid coming to the conclusion that somebody should be in prison, but it's not him. It's the people who are behind this prosecution who should be in prison. So this case is a pretty dazzling demonstration of how our criminal justice system, when it goes wrong, can go wrong horrendously. And how, yes, even a powerful political figure, a former governor, can be utterly and completely stripped of any fair process rights. That's what happened here.
This is one of the most egregious miscarriages of justice, one of the worst prosecutions by the Justice Department of the United States that I've encountered. The prosecution was tainted from beginning to end. I saw this prosecution as a vendetta. It's the first time in American jurisprudence that this theory of bribery was used. Should the prosecutors be in jail? They brought trumped up false charges to deprive somebody of their liberty. Yes, they should be in jail.
There were so many strains of wrongdoing, of unconscionability emerging from Alabama and the Siegelman prosecution that I and a group of attorneys general felt we should get involved. We should do something about this. And so we decided to have a committee, a steering committee formed of 4 people, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and we acted as a steering committee to try to reach out to former attorneys general to see if they would get involved. And indeed, over the course of the investigation and the prosecution and the litigation, former attorneys general did a number of things. 44 former attorneys general signed on to a petition that was sent to the chairs of the House and Senate Judiciary Committee asking that an investigation take place. Subsequently, 75 former attorneys general signed on to a letter to the Attorney General of the United States, Eric Holder, saying this case warrants a deep and independent investigation. Later on, there were briefs filed in the United States Supreme Court, amicus curiae briefs. One of those briefs got 91 former attorneys general to sign on, and a later brief got 113 former attorneys general. Never before in the history of the country have so many attorneys general chimed in on an issue before the United States Supreme Court. And these were Democrats and Republicans, liberals and conservatives, moderates. They represented virtually every state in the union, all united saying, somebody's got to look at this case. There's egregious wrongdoing going on here. There's something wrong in Alabama And that's why attorneys general got involved and took some unprecedented action.
Don Siegelman is the only true political prisoner in the United States that I know of. I don't know of any other politician who was sent to prison because he solicited and received a political contribution. I know of other Americans who made political contributions to presidential campaigns, for example, and who ended up, rather than being in jail, being ambassadors. Judge Fuller should never have been on this case because of the relationship the adverse relationship that he had with Governor Siegelman. This situation cries out for the correction of an injustice. And a fair man would hear the cries of the unjust. And so I must believe that the president really hasn't heard what has happened in this case, because the president has the power to do something about it. He can't make it right, but at least he can set an innocent man free.